Is Black History Month still relevant? Is it still a vehicle for change and hope? Or is it just a classroom assignment with limited meaning? A time when TV and media stack its material? Or has it been a useful concept that has run its course and achieved all of its goals? I don't think any man can deny the presence and importance of African Americans to American society. The chains of slavery are gone, but we are all not yet free. Recently, I was asked a simple question. Who do you celebrate as the most important person in Black history? I found that to be a very fair question coming from someone of European background. Well, in order for me to answer that question, because from the slave ships to the White House, there's a plethora of names that could be mentioned, but I needed to qualify it. So I came up with 3 points. 1, someone who has exceeded the challenge of preserving community and culture. 2, someone who has exceeded the challenge of not letting those who are in power forget. And number 3, one whose story is the power source for inspiration. You see, one thing will never change. We will always need to draw from inspiration and guidance from the past. There isn't a more powerful force than a people soaked in their history, and there is no higher duty than introducing the greatest freedom warrior in U.S. history. A quick glimpse into his resume. He didn't need the Civil War to find freedom. He was free before the Civil War. That's because he led the largest and most expensive slave revolt in U.S. history. He influenced Lincoln and the Emancipation movement. He was an ally not only to Indian chiefs, but to U.S. military generals. He led the largest exodus for freedom in American history, from the swampy Everglades of Florida to the Dust Bowl of Oklahoma to Mexico to Texas and back to Mexico. His influence, his guidance, and his mentorship led to 4 Congressional Medal of Honor recipients. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the highest award, military award, for one reason and one reason only, and that is bravery. That is the company that this man developed and kept around him. He was known as a father, a pioneer, a son, a slave, a fugitive, a Negro, a warrior, an interpreter, an activist. But John Horse, better known as Gopher John, will always and forever be remembered and known as a Seminole freedman. You see, on John Horse's odyssey from Oklahoma to Mexico, he stopped off at a little creek and he established a black settlement there. And he left his DNA in this black settlement and he called it Wewoka. And his DNA from the swampy Everglades of Florida was freedom or death. You see, years later in Wewoka, Pecola Whitfield gave birth to a young man named Johnny David Purify. And then in April the 5th, 1973, Johnny Purify and Lavisa Purify gave birth to Monty Jabbar Purify. You see, I'm a direct descendant of the Seminole freedmen, but it's because of John Horse and his DNA and his relentless effort for freedom, not equality, freedom. Because where in the community, in the black community that he lived in the swampy Everglades of Florida, and wherever he created, equality is earned. Freedom is all that's needed. You see, John Horse, as he went to Mexico and to Texas and back to Mexico, 56 years after his death, he got the freedom that he fought so long for 70 years. But it was 56 years after his death, Mexico ratified the agreement for the land in Coahuila. I think it's Nacimiento, in that area right there, where black Seminoles reside to this very day. My question is what are you doing and what am I doing that's going to pay itself forward 56 years after I'm long and gone? And again, is black history relevant? Absolutely. God bless.